Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Health and Life channel. As we mentioned earlier, an astonishing truth is that the refrigerator, often seen as a symbol of freshness and food safety in many people's minds, can actually become a hidden culprit causing quite a few health problems. The statistic that around 48 million Americans suffer from food poisoning each year, and tragically, more than 3,000 lose their lives, especially among our beloved elderly folks like our grandparents and parents whose immune systems aren't as robust as they once were, is truly a wake-up call. What makes us pause and reflect even more deeply is that many of these unfortunate cases originate from the very way we improperly store food right at home, inside that familiar refrigerator. You might be thinking, how can that be? The fridge is meant to keep food fresh. But science and reality have proven that not every type of food likes that cold, damp environment. Certain vegetables, fruits, and even everyday staples, when misplaced in the refrigerator, can undergo unforeseen chemical changes, leading to the loss of precious nutritional value, the formation of harmful compounds, and, in the worst cases, becoming the source of food poisoning. The most concerning part is the widespread lack of awareness about this issue. It's quite possible that you or someone you care about are unknowingly putting your health at risk simply due to a seemingly harmless habit. Pay special attention to the first food item we're about to analyze in detail. It's a prime example of how improper storage can be detrimental. So, let's continue this journey together to unveil these secrets. This isn't just general knowledge. It could be information that helps you and your family steer clear of hidden dangers and protect your health more proactively. Don't forget to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel if you find this content truly valuable. And now, let's dive deep into each specific food item. Number 9. Potatoes, the familiar tuber that rebels in the cold. We begin with potatoes, an incredibly familiar sight in every American kitchen. From Grandma Susan's smooth mashed potatoes to the crispy fries at your buddy Mark's barbecue. What's the natural reflex for many people after buying potatoes? Tossing them right into the crisper drawer of the fridge, believing it will keep them fresh longer and prevent sprouting. But alas, this is precisely what you should not do. Why? Inside a potato tuber is packed with starch, the component that gives it its characteristic satisfying texture. When you place potatoes in a cold environment below 45 degrees Fahrenheit, about 7 degrees Celsius, a natural enzyme within the potato gets awakened and becomes unusually active. This enzyme rapidly starts converting the starch into sugar, mainly reducing sugars like glucose and fructose at a much faster rate than at room temperature. You might not notice this change with the naked eye immediately, but its consequences are significant. First, the taste. Potatoes stored in the fridge often taste sweeter than usual when cooked, sometimes unpleasantly so, ruining the natural savory flavor of the dish. But the more serious issue lies elsewhere. When you take these sugar-laden potatoes and cook them at high temperatures, think golden French fries, crispy roasted potatoes, or fragrant baked potatoes. That excess sugar participates in a chemical reaction with an amino acid called asparagine, also naturally present in potatoes. This reaction, part of the Maillard reaction, which creates browning and desirable flavors, unfortunately produces an unwanted byproduct, acrylamide. Acrylamide, as warned, is a chemical linked in animal studies to an increased risk of cancer. While its effects on humans require more research, global health organizations advise minimizing acrylamide intake in our diet. By refrigerating potatoes, you are inadvertently creating conditions for more acrylamide to form during high heat cooking. Your kids' favorite French fries, if made from refrigerated potatoes, could contain more of this substance than you realize. That's not all. The cold, damp environment of the fridge also wreaks havoc on the potato structure. It causes uneven moisture loss, leading to a texture that becomes gritty, sometimes hard in spots, and mushy like mud in others after boiling or steaming. You might sometimes notice an unpleasant sandy texture in your mouth. Visually, potatoes are prone to discoloration, developing greenish patches. Exposure to light in the fridge, even dim light, stimulates solanine production, a mild toxin or dark spots. And of course, this process also causes a significant loss of vitamin C, an important nutrient. So what's the solution? It's simple. Treat potatoes the way our grandparents did. My own grandpa, George, always kept potatoes in a wicker basket in the coolest, darkest corner of the basement. That's the ideal environment. Cool. Around 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit is perfect, but cool room temperature is okay. Dark and dry with good ventilation. Keep them away from direct sunlight at all costs. Don't wash potatoes before storing, as moisture is their #1 enemy. Let them breathe in a paper bag, mesh bag, or an open basket. Never suffocate them in a sealed plastic bag. And a small tip, don't store potatoes near onions, as both release gases that can cause the other to spoil faster. Free those poor potatoes from their cold prison today. Number 8, bread. Thinking it stays fresh, but it actually ages rapidly. Next up is bread, the companion for hurried breakfasts, quick lunches, or gentle snacks enjoyed by neighbors like Patricia. Who among us hasn't thought that putting a loaf of bread in the fridge is the magic trick to keep it soft and ward off mold? Once again, this common belief goes against food science. The harsh reality is, the refrigerator is the #1 enemy of bread's freshness. It doesn't slow down staling. It accelerates the process of bread drying out and becoming stale at lightning speed. The main culprit is a phenomenon called retrogradation, or starch degradation. Imagine the starch molecules in fresh bread like soft, pliable spaghetti strands, full of water, creating that porous, elastic structure we love. When you put bread in a cold environment, especially below 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius, these starch molecules start to huddle together. They recrystallize and arrange themselves into a tighter structure, much like spaghetti, strands freezing and sticking together. This process pushes water out of their structure, causing the bread to lose essential moisture. Notably, this recrystallization happens 4 to 6 times faster at refrigerator temperatures than at room temperature. The result? After just 1 day in the fridge, your soft loaf of bread will become noticeably dry, hard, unpleasantly chewy, and very prone to crumbling. It's not just getting old like it might in dry air. It's a structural change that makes eating it less enjoyable. Sandwich slices will no longer softly hug the filling, and toast will become dry and overly hard instead of crispy on the outside and soft inside. But what about mold? The fridge seems clean and cold. Surely it prevents mold? Ironically, it can actually create more favorable conditions. When you take a cold loaf of bread out into a warmer environment, condensation occurs on the surface and inside the bread's air pockets. The surface might feel dry, but the inside becomes unevenly moist. These little oases of moisture are havens for airborne mold spores to land and thrive. And as we know, some types of bread mold can produce mycotoxins, dangerous toxins, especially harmful to the developing immune systems of young children or the weakened systems of elderly individuals like Helen down the street. So how do you keep bread delicious for longer? If you plan to eat it within 2 to 3 days, the best way is at room temperature. Use a bread box with small ventilation holes or simply a paper bag. Paper helps the crust retain some crispness, while a bread box helps balance humidity better. Avoid airtight plastic bags as they make the bread sweat and the crust soggy quickly. What if you bought too much or want to store it longer? Freezing is the correct answer. Slice the bread before putting it in a zip-top bag or airtight container, then freeze. When needed, you can take out individual slices and toast them directly or let them thaw naturally at room temperature for a few minutes. Avoid using the microwave to thaw, as it often makes bread tough. In summary, room temperature for a few days, freezing for longer periods, and say no to the fridge. Number 7. Onions, the odor offender and spoilage magnet in cold, damp conditions. Onions, with their pungent, distinctive flavor, are the foundation of countless delicious dishes. But just like potatoes, many people casually toss whole onions into the fridge drawer. Why is this a bad idea? An onion bulb has a dry, papery outer skin that acts like a natural coat, protecting the inner layers from excessive moisture and keeping it firm and dry. When you place an onion in the high humidity environment of the refrigerator, this protective layer is compromised. The onion flesh quickly starts to absorb moisture from its surroundings. The result is that the onion becomes soft, mushy, and waterlogged, creating the perfect conditions for mold to grow, often starting at the root end or any bruised spots. Furthermore, the moisture also stimulates the onion to sprout faster, changing both its flavor and texture. But the more annoying problem, and one many have likely experienced, is odor transfer. Onions contain volatile sulfur compounds that create their characteristic strong smell. When placed in the confined, cold space of the refrigerator, these compounds are not only released more intensely as the onion begins to break down, but also have the uncanny ability to penetrate and infuse other foods stored nearby. Have you ever drunk a glass of milk or eaten a pat of butter that faintly smelled of onion? Or bitten into an apple that tasted vaguely of raw onion? It's not your imagination. The refrigerator acts like a sealed box, trapping odors, and onions are one of the most potent offenders. It's certainly unpleasant when your dessert carries the aroma of last night's main course. What about onions that have already been cut or chopped? The situation is even worse. The cut surface, directly exposed to the air and moisture in the fridge, is an ideal breeding ground for bacteria to multiply, even if you've wrapped it tightly. While the myth that onions absorb toxins is scientifically baseless, the truth is that the moist, cut surface of an onion can become a host for harmful bacteria if not stored and used properly and quickly. So, let's put onions back where they belong. Whole, unpeeled onions need a cool, dark, dry, and well-ventilated place. A mesh bag hanging in the pantry, a dry corner of a cupboard, or a ventilated basement shelf is ideal. Cool temperatures are good, but dryness and air circulation are paramount. Remember to keep them away from potatoes. As for cut onions, put them in a truly airtight container and try to use them as quickly as possible, ideally within a day or two. Refrigeration is necessary for cut onions, but don't let them linger. Refrigerating whole onions only leads to food waste, nutrient loss, and an unpleasantly fragrant fridge. Number 6. Tomatoes, losing summer's flavor in the cold. Oh, tomatoes, the symbol of summer, with their luscious red hue and balanced sweet tart freshness. It's hard to resist buying a basket of vine-ripened tomatoes at the farmer's market. And then, to keep them fresh longer, what do you do? Exactly, into the fridge they go. This is one of the most common and unfortunate mistakes made with this wonderful fruit. Remember, tomatoes originated in the warm, tropical regions of South America. Biologically, they are extremely sensitive to cold temperatures. When you put tomatoes, especially those not fully ripe, into the refrigerator, typically below 55 degrees Fahrenheit or 12 degrees Celsius, you're inducing cold shock, also known as chilling injury. This cold halts the activity of crucial enzymes responsible for the later stages of ripening. Ripening isn't just about color change. It's about the development of a complex array of volatile compounds that create the unique aroma and flavor profile of a tomato. When these enzymes go dormant, the tomato will never reach its flavor peak. What's the result? Instead of a juicy, sweet, and fragrant tomato, you get something bland, tasteless, and sometimes even with a slightly metallic off flavor. The internal structure is also damaged. Cell membranes are harmed by the cold, causing water to leak out, making the tomato flesh mealy, mushy, and abnormally watery. The skin, instead of being taut and shiny, becomes tough and wrinkled, looking old and lifeless, even if the tomato is relatively fresh. Recall the disappointment of biting into a watery, flavorless tomato slice in a salad. Chances are it spent time in the fridge. Beyond taste and texture, refrigeration also affects nutritional value. Cold temperatures can reduce the levels of beneficial compounds like lycopene, the powerful antioxidant that gives tomatoes their red color, and vitamin C. You're inadvertently diminishing the health benefits you expect from tomatoes. So where is tomato heaven? It's right on your kitchen counter, at room temperature. Keep tomatoes in a cool spot, out of direct sunlight. Sunlight can make them ripen too quickly and unevenly. Place them stem side down, This helps prevent air and moisture from entering through the stem scar, slowing spoilage. Don't pile them up. Arrange them in a single layer to allow air circulation. Tomatoes will continue to ripen and develop their best flavor at room temperature. Use them when they reach the desired ripeness. If you have too many ripe tomatoes and can't use them all, don't put them in the fridge. Cook them in a sauce, soup, or roast them. Heat preserves them better than cold. Respect the summer flavor of tomatoes by keeping them far away from the cold of the refrigerator. Number 5. Garlic, the superfood that loses potency and poses risks when cold. Garlic, with its powerful flavor and long-celebrated health benefits, particularly attributed to the compound allicin known for supporting immunity and blood pressure regulation, is an indispensable ingredient in many cuisines. But is the refrigerator a safe haven for these precious cloves? The answer is no, and it can even pose serious risks. Garlic naturally prefers a cool, dark, and dry environment with good air circulation to remain dormant. The humidity and low temperature inside the refrigerator act as a wake-up call, stimulating the garlic to sprout rapidly. You'll notice green shoots emerging from the center of the cloves. This sprouting isn't just a visual cue. It completely changes the quality of the garlic. The flavor becomes harsher, more bitter, losing the subtle sweetness and pungent kick it's known for. The texture also becomes tough and somewhat rubbery. More importantly, the sprouting process and cold storage significantly reduce the levels of allicin and other beneficial sulfur compounds. Allicin is only formed when garlic cells are broken by chopping or crushing, but its precursors and the related enzymes are negatively affected by cold temperatures and the sprouting process. Essentially, you're losing the very health benefits you seek from garlic when you store it in the fridge. But the most frightening aspect concerning garlic and refrigeration is the risk of botulism poisoning. This risk is particularly high for minced or crushed garlic stored in oil in the refrigerator without proper safety measures. The bacterium Clostridium botulinum, which can be present in soil and on garlic surfaces, thrives in anaerobic, oxygen-free, like in oil, high-moisture, low-acid environments. While refrigeration slows the growth of many bacteria, it's not cold enough to completely stop the growth of C. botulinum, and crucially, it does not prevent the production of the botulinum toxin, one of the deadliest neurotoxins known. This toxin is colorless, odorless, and tasteless, but can cause muscle paralysis, respiratory failure, and death if not treated promptly. The US FDA has repeatedly warned about the dangers of homemade garlic and oil mixtures stored in the fridge without acidification, like vinegar or lemon juice, or proper preservatives. Never underestimate this risk. So, keep your garlic safe and flavorful by storing whole, unpeeled garlic bulbs in a cool, dark, dry place with good air circulation, like in a mesh bag, a basket with holes, or simply on the counter away from sunlight. No refrigeration needed. If you've peeled or minced garlic, use it immediately. If short-term storage is necessary, place it in an airtight container with a little vinegar or lemon juice. The acid inhibits bacteria, and refrigerate, but use within a few days. Another option is to freeze minced garlic in small portions in an ice cube tray or zip-top bag. But absolutely avoid storing whole bulbs or improperly prepared homemade garlic and oil in the refrigerator for extended periods. Number 4. Coffee, beans, or grounds. The odor sponge that loses its delicate flavor. For many, a fragrant cup of coffee in the morning is an essential ritual to start the day. To keep this black gold fresh, some people get the idea of storing their coffee container in the refrigerator or even the freezer. It sounds logical for preservation, but in reality, it's the quickest way to ruin coffee's delicate flavor. Coffee, whether in bean form or ground, has a property called hygroscopic, meaning it acts like a sponge, possessing an incredible ability to absorb moisture and odors from its surroundings. The refrigerator, teeming with various foods from pungent cheese and leftover onions or garlic to last night's Indian curry, is an aroma party that coffee will readily soak up. After just a short time, the delicate fruity notes or rich chocolate undertones in your premium Arabica beans will be masked by an unpleasant medley of smells. The The result is a cup of coffee that tastes strange, flat, or even foul, completely different from what you expected. My friend James once complained his morning coffee tasted like smoked salmon. The culprit was the coffee canister he kept next to the fish in the fridge. But the real enemy isn't just strange odors, it's moisture. Every time you open the refrigerator door, the cold, humid air inside comes into contact with the coffee container. When you take the container out into a warmer environment, condensation forms on the surface of the beans or grounds. This moisture is the primary agent that breaks down the essential oils and volatile aromatic compounds in coffee, the components that create its complex flavor and provide health benefits like antioxidants, e.g., chlorogenic acids. This oxidation and degradation process happens much faster in the presence of moisture, causing the coffee to become stale, lose its aroma, degassing, and turn old prematurely. You not only lose the delicious taste, but also diminish the valuable antioxidant benefits. Additionally, damp coffee grounds, especially if stored in a container that isn't perfectly airtight, can become a breeding ground for mold, something nobody wants in their morning cup. So, what's the secret to keeping coffee fresh and flavorful? Stay away from the refrigerator and freezer. The ideal place to store coffee is in an airtight, opaque container. Light also degrades coffee quality, kept in a cool, dark, and dry place like a kitchen cabinet. To preserve the best flavor, buy whole bean coffee and grind only the amount you need just before brewing. If you happen to buy too much, divide it into smaller portions, vacuum seal them, if possible, and freeze only the unopened portions. When you take a bag out, let it thaw completely at room temperature before opening it to prevent condensation. But generally, the best practice is to buy enough for 1 to 2 weeks and store it properly at room temperature. Number 3. Honey, the immortal liquid gold that crystallizes and spoils in the cold. Honey, with its natural sweetness, attractive golden hue, and countless health benefits passed down through ages, is a miraculous gift from nature. One of the most incredible properties of pure honey is that it almost never spoils if stored correctly. Jars of honey thousands of years old have been found in ancient Egyptian tombs and were still edible. Why this miracle? It's due to a combination of factors: extremely low water content, high acidity, and the presence of special enzymes like glucose oxidase produced by bees, which creates antibacterial hydrogen peroxide. Yet, many people habitually put their honey jar in the refrigerator, thinking it's just to be safe. This action is not only unnecessary, but also ruins the texture and can potentially degrade the quality of the honey. The first and most noticeable effect is crystallization. Cold temperatures cause the natural sugars in honey, especially glucose, to separate from the solution and form solid crystals. This process happens much faster at refrigerator temperatures than at room temperature. Your smooth, liquid honey jar will quickly become thick, gritty, grainy, and even solidify like rock candy, making it very difficult to scoop out and use. Although crystallized honey doesn't mean it's spoiled and can be reliquefied, it's clearly very inconvenient. But the problem isn't just texture. The crystallization process and the frequent removal and return of the honey jar to the fridge, causing temperature fluctuations, can create tiny air pockets and allow moisture to condense inside the jar. Honey naturally has very low water content, which is one reason it's so resistant to bacteria. When the moisture level increases, even slightly, it can activate dormant natural yeasts present in the honey, which normally can't function due to lack of water. When these yeasts become active, they begin to ferment the sugars, producing alcohol and acetic acid, giving the honey a sour taste and an unpleasant odor. Increased moisture also reduces honey's natural antibacterial properties, potentially allowing other types of bacteria or mold to grow, something that never happens with properly stored pure honey. Furthermore, the beneficial enzymes in honey, which are sensitive to temperature, also slow down or become deactivated by prolonged cold, thus reducing some of its healing and antibacterial properties. So, please let honey rest where it belongs, in a tightly sealed jar, stored in a cool, dry place, away from direct light, like inside a kitchen cabinet. Room temperature is perfect for honey. If your honey crystallizes, which is completely natural for pure honey, especially in cooler weather. Don't worry. Simply place the open jar in a bowl of warm, not hot, around 104 degrees Fahrenheit per 40 degrees Celsius. Water for a few minutes, stir gently, and the crystals will dissolve, returning the honey to its smooth liquid state. Absolutely do not use a microwave, as high and uneven heat can destroy honey's enzymes and delicate flavors. Number 2. Bananas, the tropical fruit that gets frostbite and loses flavor. Bananas, the bright yellow, sweet fruit, rich in potassium and easy to digest, are a favorite snack for all ages, from children to seniors like my neighbor Mr. Arthur, who eats one every morning. But just like tomatoes, bananas are a tropical fruit and are absolutely not designed to withstand the cold of a refrigerator. When you put bananas, especially those that are still slightly green, into the fridge, the low temperature inhibits and disrupts the activity of the enzymes responsible for ripening. This process involves converting starch to sugar, creating sweetness, softening the cell structure, creating tenderness, and producing characteristic aromatic compounds. When these enzymes are frozen, the banana may never fully ripen. It might stay green and hard or ripen unevenly, soft in some spots and firm in others. But the most obvious sign of refrigerating bananas is the change in peel color. The beautiful bright yellow skin will quickly turn dull brown, then black, often within just a day or two. This isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's a clear sign of chilling injury. The cells in the peel are damaged, releasing enzymes that cause oxidation and browning. And don't think only the peel is affected. The banana flesh inside, although it might not turn black like the peel, is also negatively impacted. It often becomes mushy in some areas while remaining unpleasantly firm in others, and usually develops a bland, watery, or even slightly metallic taste, completely losing its natural sweet fragrance. Nutritionally, the refrigeration process also reduces the levels of some important antioxidants found in bananas, such as catechins and dopamine. Yes, dopamine acts as an antioxidant in bananas too, which play roles in protecting brain cells and reducing oxidative stress, something particularly important for the health of older adults. Additionally, if the banana is already slightly ripe or has small cracks in the skin when you put it in the fridge, the high humidity can encourage mold growth, especially around the stem area. The best way to enjoy bananas at their peak: let them ripen naturally at room temperature. Hanging the bunch on a banana hook is ideal, as it allows air circulation and prevents bruising. Keep them away from other ripe fruits, like apples or avocados, as the ethylene gas they release will speed up banana ripening. If you have too many ripe bananas and can't eat them in time, this is the only time you should consider chilling them. Peel the bananas, slice them or leave them whole, put them in an airtight container or zip-top bag, and freeze. Frozen bananas are fantastic for smoothies, homemade ice cream, or banana bread. But absolutely never put whole bananas, especially unripe ones, in the refrigerator's cool compartment. Number 1. Olive oil, the other liquid gold damaged by cold temperatures. And finally, the number 1 spot goes to an ingredient hailed as the heart of the healthy Mediterranean diet: olive oil. With its distinct flavor and numerous cardiovascular benefits, many people are very careful about storing this precious oil. But surprisingly, putting olive oil in the refrigerator is one of the most common mistakes and can be more harmful than you think, especially for long-term health. What happens when olive oil gets cold? At the low temperatures inside a refrigerator, the monounsaturated fatty acids in olive oil, the main component responsible for health benefits, begin to solidify and crystallize. The oil will become cloudy, thick like lard, or even partially solid. This solidification process itself doesn't chemically damage the oil, and it will return to its clear liquid state when brought back to room temperature. However, the inconvenience of using solidified oil is undeniable. It's very difficult to pour and measure accurately. But the more serious issue lies in the repeated cycle of temperature changes. Imagine taking the bottle out of the fridge to cook, then putting it back in. This constant shifting from cold solid to warm liquid and back again puts a thermal shock on the oil's chemical structure. This process accelerates oxidation. Oxidation is olive oil's worst enemy. It breaks down the beneficial unsaturated fatty acids, creates harmful free radicals that damage cells, and most importantly, destroys the polyphenol compounds, the powerful antioxidants that provide most of the anti-inflammatory and heart protective benefits of extra virgin olive oil. What's the consequence? The oil once praised as a superfood for the heart can be transformed into something less healthy, potentially even contributing to inflammation in the body if heavily oxidized. For older adults already dealing with chronic inflammatory conditions like arthritis, I remember neighbor Mr. Peterson often complaining about his knees. Consuming olive oil whose quality has been degraded by improper storage could inadvertently worsen their condition instead of helping. In terms of flavor, oxidation and cold temperatures also kill the delicate nuances of good olive oil. The grassy notes, fruity aromas, and peppery finish in the throat, hallmarks of high-quality extra virgin oil, will become muted, replaced by a flat taste, or worse, a rancid flavor if the oil is significantly oxidized. This diminishes the enjoyment and the benefits associated with using olive oil in the Mediterranean diet. So, protect your liquid gold properly. The best place for olive oil is in a dark glass bottle, green or brown, or a tin container to block light. Light also promotes oxidation. Seal the cap tightly after each use to minimize air exposure. Store the bottle in a cool, dark, dry place, such as a kitchen cabinet, away from heat sources like the stove, oven, dishwasher, or sunny windowsills. Stable room temperature is best. Pay attention to the harvest or bottling date on the label to ensure freshness. High-quality olive oil, stored correctly, can retain its flavor and health benefits for about 18 to 24 months from the harvest date. Summary and conclusion. So there you have it. Our list of 9 common foods that not only don't benefit from refrigeration, but can actually be harmed by it. From potatoes risking acrylamide formation, bread drying out and molding faster, onions becoming mushy and odorous, tomatoes and bananas losing flavor and texture, garlic losing potency and posing botulism risks, coffee absorbing odors and oxidizing, honey crystallizing and fermenting, to olive oil losing its antioxidant quality. Each has its own reasons to say no to the fridge. Remember, understanding the specific storage needs of each food item is key to keeping them fresh, nutritious, and most importantly, safe. Potatoes, onions, and garlic need cool, dark, airy spots. Bread prefers room temperature or the freezer. Tomatoes and bananas thrive in the warmth of your kitchen counter. Honey, coffee, and olive oil also need stable room temperature, away from light and air. Stronger call to action. Right now, take a moment to check your own refrigerator and pantry. Are any of the foods on this list being imprisoned in the wrong place? What new insights have you gained, and what changes will you implement starting today? We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Please leave a comment below. Let us know where you're watching from and any food storage tips you swear by. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to health and food safety. If you found this video truly valuable, please don't hesitate to hit the like button, share this video with your friends and family, the people you care about, so they can protect their health better too. And of course, be sure to subscribe to the Health and Life channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future helpful videos from us. Thank you for your patience and for joining us on this discovery journey. We wish you and your family good health and wise food choices every day. Goodbye and see you next time.